Well, thank you. My name is Sabrina Keller, and I would like to take just a few minutes to describe the import surveillance program we have built in the United States over the last 15 years. So the mission of my agency, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, or CPSC, is to protect consumers from the unreasonable risk of injury or death from the use of thousands of different types of consumer products. Most consumer products in the United States, of course, are manufactured overseas in other countries and are imported into the United States. Therefore, one way we protect consumers is by establishing a border presence and trying to intercept any dangerous products before they reach store shelves and consumers' homes. The map in front of you is a visual depiction of the over 320 official ports of entry into the United States. My agency does not have staff at all of these ports, unlike U.S. Customs, but we have placed investigators at the largest ports and in all modes of transport: ocean, air, truck, rail, and more recently, express consignment. A big key to our success is our physical co-location at the ports every day, working side by side with Customs. The other thing we've done is formalized that partnership with a variety of agreements. We signed our very first memorandum of understanding back in 1990, and that allows us to share data and information with Customs and vice versa. We risk assess or target incoming shipments of consumer products in several different ways. Perhaps the most important one is the first on the list. We have built our own internal targeting system. We call that the RAM, which receives a feed of data directly from U.S. Customs into our system in almost real time. About every 5 minutes, we receive data on incoming shipments, and our system risk assesses that data. We have a risk scoring algorithm which helps our investigators choose which shipments are the highest risk and which ones they want to physically examine at the port. That risk algorithm takes into account many different factors: all the suppliers, all the actors in the supply chain, country of origin, the product, and so forth. I'll also mention that CBP, U.S. Customs, does some targeting on our behalf as well. The investigators we have at the ports are officially called compliance investigators. The first 4 bullet points on your screen show things that they do every day. They're targeting incoming shipments once the shipment arrives. They are doing physical exams. They're screening those products for potential hazards. If they find any possible dangers, they will collect official samples of those products and send them into our laboratory for confirmatory testing. They also conduct a lot of outreach and education with both our government partners and our industry partners. Last year, our port investigators screened over 62,000 different types of products, looking for both substantive or performance violations, as well as more technical or administrative violations. And you can see some examples on this list. They are looking for a variety of chemical, mechanical, and electrical hazards. There is, of course, a large focus on products for more vulnerable populations, such as infants and children. All our investigators carry a variety of handheld tools. Some of them are quite sophisticated and expensive. Here is a tool they use every day, the handheld XRF analyzer, which is able to screen for heavy metals, including lead, which of course is toxic. I have some photos in my presentation. Here's an example. In both photos on the right is a CPSC port investigator. On the left is a U.S. Customs officer. You can see our investigator using that XRF device to screen children's products for high levels of lead. It's very easy to use, and it's very quick and simple to get a reading on heavy metals from children's products. And these examples, of course, are a remote controlled toy car or some children's backpacks. The legal limit for lead content in the United States is 100 parts per million. These baby shoes, if you can see on the screen, have a reading of over 1,400 parts per million. Another tool our investigators carry is an FTIR, which screens for hazardous phthalates, a chemical plasticizer. We have two different types. The one on the left is a portable, rugged handheld device, and the device, I'm sorry, that's the one on the left. On the right is a more sophisticated desktop version that we also have at the ports. We also screen electrical products for hazards. We're looking at insulation and wire size and fuses, things like that. And you can see with these portable tools, our investigators are a very mobile workforce. They're even able to conduct exams at an airport directly as the cargo comes off a plane. So I mentioned that after we examine a shipment, most shipments are, of course, compliant. So that would be a clean or negative exam, in which case we release the shipment. If we do find a possible hazard at the port, we will collect an official sample of that product. We mail that product to our laboratory for further testing and analysis. If the hazard is confirmed by our laboratory and our experts at headquarters, in most cases, we will ask U.S. Customs to seize that shipment on our behalf, so it never leaves the port. Our investigators spend most of their time at the port. However, this is just an example of other duties that they have outside of the port. They do a lot of training, a lot of presentations. They try to educate importers and brokers about the requirements, the product safety requirements in the United States. And if we come across a company that cannot or will not come into compliance, we'll follow a mode of progressive enforcement, and we will build a case against that company and refer it to our lawyers for possible civil or criminal penalties. Thank you very much for your time today, and I will gladly take any questions after the break.